I've got the wiring pretty much buttoned up for getting the engine running again. Over here where I was talking about putting in a breaker and all that, with more research, I really couldn't find a breaker that I thought I could trust. There's Busman and stuff, but the reviews were bad. People were getting, I don't know if they're just Chinese knockoffs or what. Anyway, so I've kind of regressed back to the, what with the painless stuff and factory type stuff. So here's a fuse block that comes with the painless wiring kit. I was going to put it out here, but as small as that one is, I decided just on the firewall there would be fine. That comes with a 150 amp fuse, and they include a spare one, and I'll probably pick up an extra one just in case. But if I was on the side of the road, I could just move that connection to there or bridge it or something. Not the end of the world. It's got 6-gauge wiring going back to the battery, which that came with the kit. And as far as a fuse or a breaker on the ECU wire, I've decided to go back to a fusible link. After what I've read about them, that's an appropriate application, just the way that they operate, that they can handle higher amp loads very short term for like startups and stuff, where fuses and breakers aren't as good for that. So right now I do have a fuse in line because I had to order a fusible link wire, 20 gauge to feed the 16 gauge, but that's just temporary. I'll put a fusible link back in there when I get to that point. So I'm buttoning up stuff underneath. I've ran the wiring to the back of the truck for the fuel pump and all that stuff. I haven't done the headlights and stuff, of course, but I'll crawl under there and I'll show you what I've done under there. So here's the way I've rebuilt the cross member. I just took some roll cage tubing and made a hoop and welded it to that, and that reinforced it since it was still pretty weak. With, of course, I notched it out, but I also put a plate on it, but it still wasn't very good, so that strengthened it back up, and then also gave me a driveline hoop, which is always recommended. Keeps you from pole vaulting if your front U-joint breaks, and it's required for drag racing at a certain level. I don't know, but I ain't drag racing. I've added some clamps on the exhaust here. I decided not to weld these ends, just in case I decide I want different mufflers or something. I can just switch them out easier that way. And then I've got my wiring ran to the back. Let's see if I can show you that. There you go. So I've got the brake line secured with some cable clamps, and then I put all the wiring from the painless wiring, and also the fuel pump power wire is in that wire loom there. And this is gonna be very good, but I can't see. Anyway, it's secured all over the back using that loom and the little clamp. So I like how that came out. And I got my backup light switch installed there. I was able to reuse the connector off the transmission and then just tee that in. The painless kit includes that, those wires that feed that as well. So, digging my phone, sorry about that. It's not a lot of room under here. And out back here, nothing fancy, still pretty temporary. I went ahead and put the ground in a separate loom just because I didn't have a loom that was quite big enough to fit all the wires. So I've got two ground wires. I don't know why they weren't paired together, but the sender and the pump have their own individual ground, so I went ahead and kept that. No big deal. Coiled up some slack here, that way when I revamp this I'll have extra wire depending on what I decide to do. Got the vent line cut and tied into the line that goes up to the charcoal canister, which I haven't installed yet. Might hopefully get that done today. Again, nothing too exciting back here. It's still temporary, but a little more permanent than it was. As you can see, Bob the shop rooster is having a pretty rough day. He's just hanging out over here, staying out of the sunlight, I guess, watching me work. What do you think, Bob? Huh? What do you think, Bob? Okay, we're to the point that I'm going to see if it'll run after doing the wiring. I went ahead and hung the front fenders on just so it, I don't know, it looks a lot better with the fenders hanging on there. So making a little progress in that regard too. So I'll go hook up the battery and go through some pre-flight checks and see if she fires up here. Yep, you got electricity, so that's good. See if the fuel pump turns on. Got fuel pump. Got dash lights. Yeah, I'm very excited about that. That's freaking awesome. Let's see if the gauges are all working here. I guess I should have looked while I was in here. Oh, looks like we got a little bit of fuel. That's about what I would figure is in there. Voltmeter's working, which is good. Oil pressure gauge is working. That's awesome. And then that's another volt gauge over here. Nope. Jeez, I got dash lights. I might as well use them. Look at that. We got illumination. No tack yet, but I did buy a tack. I don't know if I showed you that. The old Moon Eyes Classic. I think I'll throw that on the dash. There was a really awesome car show in Pendleton, Oregon called Hot Rod-A-Rama. Really recommend you guys look into it on Facebook. It's first year they've done it in a long time, and it's all pre-64 traditional hot rods, and it was super awesome. I'm hoping to get this ready for that next year. If they'll let me enter it, I don't know. With EFI and stuff, it doesn't really fit in, but maybe if I keep my hood shut, they'll let me in, but we'll see. Sounds like a top. Definitely happy about that. Awesome possum. So now the next step is I'm gonna get bolts in these fenders and get everything loosely hung, and I don't know how to align fenders, so we'll just fight through that. But considering they were on here before, hopefully that won't be too big of a deal to do, so we'll work on that next, I think. But I'm excited. It runs again. Still more wiring. Got to do headlights, taillights, all that stuff, but making some more progress.